Wonderful. Okay, so my name is Sarah Seitz. I am the Chillicothe Chamber of Commerce president. I work for Owens Design Group. We're a family-owned business here in Chillicothe, and then I'm a co-owner of Sites Inc. With my husband. And then we have a small online greeting card business and also a wedding invitation business. So I was asked to talk a little bit about some success stories. So I know with COVID right now, things have been a little bit crazy for businesses. We had a website. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sites Inc. So we had a link on our website to shop. So we had an online store there. It wasn't anything great. We had added that in February. So then in March, what happened for us, a lot of our businesses are schools, and we have a lot of schools. So we lost all of our school accounts, and then we also anticipated losing our summer sports. So what we looked at is we lost between a third and half of our business because everything was shut down. So what we did is we identified some trends in the market and we started looking. So like in April, healthcare workers, you guys remember that April really ramped up with our heroes and things like that. May, graduations in healthcare. June, graduations, Black Lives Matter, and surprisingly, TikTok. So what we did is we offered a couple of things to our clients. So we offered online stores for those maybe were doing fundraisers, things like that, still trying to do things. So we offered that, and then we watched what was going on and we pivoted accordingly. So if you don't have schools, you're not having any of that business coming in, we went, okay, we need to have a retail boutique. So for us, everything we make is handmade. So we focused on Etsy. So we went online in a market that doesn't just focus on this geographical area. And we saw the following trends. So in April, by doing this, our sales were up 376% from the prior month. And then in May, they were up 254% from the prior month. And then in June, they've been flat. So the bulk of our sales, what we were noticing is are on the coasts. So we're not relying on just things here in Chillicothe. We're not relying in the Peoria market. I actually live about 45 minutes north. We weren't relying on that market. But then people started seeing that and they contacted us as well. And so we've done some work for General Mills now and some things like that where they reached out because they saw it online and then they reached out to us. So we looked at our numbers, kind of a numbers person. And without our online sales, we wouldn't be in the financial situation we're in. Our business is up this year, 46.67% year over year after losing almost half of our business during the initial COVID outbreak. If we can continue with half of our online sales that we did since March, we're looking at an additional revenue stream of $36,000 annually. That's just by you having online presence. We didn't do anything special. We just are offering it to people that don't live here and don't know about us. A lot of that I'm sure we'll be discussing a little bit about some of the things that you can do. But what we're seeing now is our businesses are reopening, and because we're more diversified, we've offered more new products to our clients. We have previous clients returning, and it's going to allow us to remain steady. If things close down again, we'll have that online presence. So that's just kind of a little bit of our success story from pivoting and really focusing on online sales.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. There we go. Okay, at this point, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Ross Miller. Entrepreneurship is hard, and Ross guides entrepreneurs through the maze of complexity to get new product into the market and scaled nationally. He works alongside not only to consult, but also to implement tactics to achieve goals, even the eventual exit of the business. Ross is the president of Sherpa Enterprises, LLC. Over the past 19 years, Ross has worked in the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, at Bradley University. He has worked with over 3,000 clients, helping entrepreneurs start nearly 400 companies and several business acquisitions. His association with the SBDC network allowed him to train alongside subject matter experts and to distill that learning into actionable processes for entrepreneurs. Ross Miller, welcome.
Thank you, Catherine. And thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure this time will be beneficial for you as well. And I appreciate that great intro that you did. Essentially what I do is work alongside entrepreneurs through this process of getting their products to scale nationally. One thing I learned at the SBDC was you can tell people all day long what to do, and then they get out and start implementing all that you told them, and it is really, really hard. That's why you've heard the statistics, 80% of all small businesses fail within the first 5 years. A vast majority of them fail within the first year because this is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And so you need to really develop that team around you of employees and trusted advisors and mentors that will help you through this process to be able to have a successful business. There's an old saying of, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with a group. And that is, with entrepreneurship, that is what it is really about. So one of the things that I want to find out from you is, we have a poll that that Catherine can put together or show, and I want you to submit an answer of what your business is. Are you currently in business and it's a retail only business, a physical structure business? Is this a product-based business that you have, so that you're just selling product through other businesses? Do you have a service business that you're looking at moving online? Or is this an idea, a new business that you're looking to start, and it's going to involve online? So go ahead and submit that into the poll, and we can see the results. All right, so we got lots of service-based businesses, and we got some new businesses. All right, so this will be interesting. So I will try to incorporate a lot of that into what I'm going to be talking about today. So what we're going to be talking about is talking about your product mix for online businesses. We're going to talk about the channels, the distribution channels that you can get into, that are not just your website, but get it to where people are already going. And then we can talk about fulfillment options as well. A lot of that is geared towards product-based businesses, but there could be some good resources for you there. So whenever we talk about any type of move in business, we always want to consider the customers first. Think about who your customers are, or who our customers are. They need to be the focus of our business, and everything that we build needs to be focused around their needs and who they want, or who they are, and what they want. With a number of companies that I've advised, we work together on developing customer profiles. So you actually dive in more into each one of those customers, and we create a profile around each one of those customers. So for example, here on the left, we might that might be 20-something Tim, who has one set of values and interests, and on the right we have Knitting Nancy, who has a completely different set of interests. But we name those customers because every decision that we're going to make, we're going to consider them and how this is going to affect them in the decisions that we make with our company, because we develop our company around our customers. So when you have a bricks and mortar store, you really have to gear it towards the physical location that you're placed in. You have to consider who are those people that live within a driving distance of my physical store, and your product mix has to revolve around trying to make sure that everybody who walks into that store is walking out with some type of product. And then you start looking at how can I increase that transaction amount per visit. But when you move into e-commerce, it frees up a lot of that limitations of the bricks and mortar store. When we move into having an online, similar to what Sarah said, she said, I have two businesses. I have a business that is greeting cards, and then I have a business that is wedding invitations. Two different markets. Yes, you can have some float over between the two different markets, but you want to have different websites that will focus on that specific interest of your customers through that. So make sure that you're considering that, and it's relatively easy to develop multiple websites. Granted, I don't encourage to do that all at once. Start with one. Start with one website and get your feet wet with it, and then eventually it gets easier to develop those other websites and market directly towards the group that you built that website for. So we want to develop those customer profiles for our customers. Couple different ways to do this is we could do it through demographics. What's the age, gender, income level, profession that they work in, and really focusing on who they are as a person, from all the things that you can describe from just looking at them. And then we can also get into the psychographics. Psychographics are how they think, what their interests are, what their values are, and lifestyles. This is better understanding of the whole person. You might have people who have interests in, for example, I'm a big outdoors person, but even for outdoors people, you might have people who like hiking, people who like camping. And when you get into camping, you have your tent campers and your RV people. So you can have different niches within those interests. You have your mountaineering people and backpackers, and you also have, I was heavily involved in scouting with my children. So you have your scout troops and those types of things that you can gear those psychographics towards, and to better understand that customer. So we divide those customers into demographic groups as well as psychographic groups, so that we really get specific on who they are. So so we develop a product mix that is going to be geared towards each one of those customers. I had some specific, one specific story that I had when you talk about getting really niche, really deep into one category. There was a company, and they might still be in the business in the area, but there was a couple in the area that developed a business around making custom costumes for Beauty and the Beast theater productions, and they geared them towards youth. So they had different sizes for each one of these costumes, so they could do everything from a middle school play all the way up to a college play, or an adult play. So they would ship these around the world. They discovered that there was a market for this simply by working with the theater over in East Peoria, and discovered that they couldn't easily get the costumes for putting together Beauty and the Beast. They started doing it, and then they realized that there was a market for this nationally, and they did a great job of being able to find that niche, being able to allow people to find them. And then they went on and found other niches that were out there, other plays that needed costumes. One of the owners also got into musical saws, and so he was selling those as well. So being able to define that target market and then develop that product mix specific for them is key to this whole process. So what is your competition providing in this area? We want to see what is the competition doing for that group. We want to study them. We want to see what's missing. We actually want to buy from them. We want to see what that process looks like, the way they do it. How do they respond to the customer after the order's put in? Do they provide tracking numbers for the shipment? What is that customer experience like through that competition? By understanding that, you're going to see what are they missing. How could the customer experience be better through your site than through that competition? Or what is in the product mix that they're not offering that you could be offering? And that can help our process of developing that website and developing this as an all-encompassing service. All right, so there's a sea of possibilities that are out there. When you build your website, you're one of 1.75 billion websites that are currently out there, and you're trying to attract over 300 million users in the US. So it's not a field of dreams type of situation that you're walking into. You're just another website that is out there somewhere that nobody knows about, and nobody is going to find you without some work. So you need to focus your website on search engine optimization. You're going to need to spend some money on search engine marketing, the Google ads and those types of things. You're going to need to spend some time on social media, not only getting content out there, but then also advertising in Facebook and Instagram, wherever your customer is congregating. We want to be able to gain access to where they are and how they can to where they are to be able to get some influence over their thought processes. This does not have to just sit on your website either. So Sarah mentioned Etsy. Etsy is great for handmade items. Amazon also has a handmade item area. We have, for regular products, Amazon, Walmart, all these different places you can sell products through. And there's a couple different ways to do that. But the main thing is that you want to have these extra distribution channels to where your customers are already going. And that can be helpful. For example, I work with a company that sells filters, premium air filters for the living areas in recreational vehicles. We have our website. We are also on Amazon and do fulfillment by Amazon. So we have inventory in the Amazon warehouses. We also sell through marketplace, or the marketplace at Walmart.com, and there's a lot of different options. We're also in Camping World as well, but in addition to our website. So we don't want to just control how people can buy from us, as you can only buy from our website. We want to be in these other distribution channels to allow them to be able to find us easily. I had a conversation with a customer just the other day of saying, well, I can buy you cheaper on Amazon because I'm a Prime member and the shipping is free. And I said, that's great. Do we lose some of the margin on that transaction? Yes, but it is still better than not getting the transaction at all. So I'm all for getting products out to every distribution channel that we can, or as many as we can, to be able to make sure that we're there where the customer can find us. Something else to consider, especially with Amazon, is the difference between, they have fulfillment by Amazon and fulfillment by manufacturer. So you can be on Amazon and not have any of your inventory at the Amazon warehouse. You would receive the orders and then you do the fulfillment yourself and send it out. When you do the fulfillment yourself, you're not allowed to, Amazon doesn't allow you to do the discounts for Prime members, so you lose some of that. So if you can do the fulfillment by Amazon, that is a benefit for all those Prime members. And those Prime members utilize Amazon because they get the free shipping and those benefits. So think about that as we're developing that whole distribution model for our products. The next thing is fulfillment. So once we get the orders, now a very important step comes into play, is delivering all this product. And for some people, that's going to be done through your own employees and through resources that you have. There are also fulfillment services that are out there in the area that can be a big help to you. I'm a big advocate of, I can say this now that I'm not in the SBDC, I'm a big advocate of keeping businesses to the lowest employee count as possible. So utilizing other services, especially when you're in the startup mode, can be a huge benefit, because then you don't have to hire people or fill in for them when they don't show up for work, or heaven forbid, lay them off when you don't have enough revenue going on. So you can work with these fulfillment services to allow you to reduce staff, allow you to be able to scale up quicker than if you had to go out and hire all those people yourselves. And also, they can manage a lot of the inventory for you and do a lot of great resources. That the filter company that I work with, we use Bridgeway. They're out of Macomb, but they have like 7 locations around the state of Illinois. The one we use is in North Pekin. Interesting thing about Bridgeway is they hire disabled people to be able to do all this work. So and they work with us on how can we make this. They do our packaging and our fulfillment, and they work with us on how can we make this process so that our customer or their employees can be able to do all that work, to be able to package the product, be able to put labels on it, to be able to ship it out and all that. So they handle that end of it. And it is really great to be able to see those employees have a job that they take a lot of pride in. Also in this area, we have the distribution fulfillment center services up in the Chicago area. There's ShipBob. Morton EDC is working on developing an e-commerce incubator in the former Kmart store over in Morton, where they would have a full warehouse and be able to handle a lot of the fulfillment services for e-commerce companies through that incubator. And so that's something that's coming up, but watch for that, and hopefully that will take off. One of the things that I want to touch on, since we have so many service businesses, one of the things that I want to touch on is with service businesses, you're really confined to the services that you can personally provide or that your employees can provide. So that limits your scalability in a lot of ways, unless you can hire enough people and put them into place. But there's a lot of knowledge in service-based businesses. So think about how you can productize certain portions of your business. So for example, I saw some of the names that are on here, and I know some of you. Being able to develop classes is one way to productize it. Writing books, finding ways to be able to make money when you're sleeping or when you're on vacation is a key way that you can grow your business, help it to scale better, help it to scale possibly nationally, and to be able to make this business bigger than yourself. I'm kind of saying that, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself that I need to be thinking about that as well. But anyway, but that is a big key for service businesses because just the limits of a service business. So some key takeaways for today: focus on that product mix that's going to focus on your target market. Become as niche as possible. So niche is just a market segment that you're going to focus on, that you can develop a product mix around, that you can advertise to, and be able to find them online. Think about those channels that you can utilize that are in addition to your website, and then think about those fulfillment options. Okay. So I want to open it up to questions. We got a good amount of time for questions. So what are you struggling with yourself that we can answer some questions about?
This is Catherine again. Feel free to drop your questions into the chat box or into the Q&A box. If you're on Facebook, you can pop them into the comments.
So I also wanted to share, while people are putting in their comments or questions, I also wanted to share that there are a good amount of resources. There's some wonderful resources that are out on the Chillicothe Library's website. If you go into this page that's promoting this webinar series, if you scroll down to the bottom of it, I was really impressed with the number of resources that are available. A lot of stuff from Google that was on there, focused on getting your website online. The approach that I took with this webinar was to focus on the strategy and the targeting of the customers more than the nuts and bolts of the steps of getting a website put together. I've done that in the past. As a matter of fact, in beginning of 1997, sound like an old man, but I was involved with web development back then, and built everything from websites for a grain mill in rural Kentucky to came here and worked with Amanda at Multi-Ad Services and built web projects for Lexus and Karastan carpets and a number of different things. So Carla has a question. Can you talk about adding a shopping cart option on a website? Who are some good vendors who can provide secure service and also capture data? Okay, so adding a shopping cart, there's a couple different ways. There's a couple different ways to have a shopping cart. A lot of websites that are out there right now are WordPress, and there's WooCommerce that is a shopping cart that works with WordPress. And there's a lot of developers who work with that, and it's relatively, well, some people will argue nothing is relatively easy with WordPress, but you can add that into WordPress. If you have just one product or one or two products that you're trying to sell, you can also use PayPal as almost a shopping cart option if you don't have very many products that you have to add into your catalog. If there are a lot of products, I'm a big fan of Shopify for larger e-commerce offerings. So I mean larger when we talk about like 20 different SKUs, 20 different options of purchasing. Carla, could you expand on secure service and capturing data? Are you talking about just a secured website? And is the data like the web traffic that you're looking at? What type of data are you looking for? To answer those, go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and let Carla talk so she can expand on that a little bit.
Okay, great.
Thank you for asking. The secure piece is so that the customer is assured that their data is in fact not something that anybody else can get access to.
Okay.
And the data piece is when a customer does purchase something, I want to have access to the information related to that customer, starting with an email address.
Okay. So, so as far as to gain confidence, so you're going to have security certificates from your host provider. So look for most host providers are going to offer you a secure website. So those are going to show up as on your URL. It's going to say HTTPS // and then your domain name. So when you look for a host server, look for one that's going to provide you with those with that secured server. And that's going to be kind of the baseline of that security. In addition to that, you're going to have to make sure that your content management system is going to be updated on a regular basis and is completely up to date as much as you can. Regarding the customer data revolves around the forms and the information that you're going to require in that shopping cart in order for them to make the purchase. And usually that's all going to reside in your administrative area for your website. So for example, with WordPress and utilizing WooCommerce, I log into there and I can see who's ordered what. I can see their contact information and mailing addresses and emails, all that information so that we can communicate with that customer. We also use different shipping apps, like I think the one that we use with the filter company is called Shipping Easy. That then puts in different information about like the tracking numbers and that type of thing for that customer. Is there any additional things that I'm missing that? Okay, good. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I do encourage everybody to be coming to the rest of the workshops that Catherine's put together. A great lineup of speakers are going to be included in there. Next week, you have the social media for small business, and Marcy is going to be doing, is going to be doing that. Okay. Mention niche markets. Is there? Sorry, there's another question from Sarah. Is there a resource you can recommend to gather data on trends? For example, we know from the news that camping and RV sales have increased significantly due to COVID. Is there a site that has that information? The quick answer is that I have not found it yet. Most of it is anecdotal or most of it is anecdotal that I've found so far, and we are in, as they keep on saying, unprecedented times. So I have not found specific data sites that I can point to that are showing the exact trends that are happening because of, or during this time of the lockdowns and everything, just because it's so new. And usually the market data takes a while to catch up, that we can find those things. But most of it is just from anecdotal evidence of hearing news reports, reading articles, and that I've been seeing a lot of different trends. One of the things that one of the trends that I am noticing is with e-commerce. Everything has been focused around, e-commerce has always been, or for the past 20 years, has been 10, now it's crept up to about 15% of the total retail spend nationally in the US. We're seeing that is increasing. A lot of people are buying more, and I think that evidence is just from looking at, again, it's anecdotal, but looking at news articles talking about how the Postal Service is overloaded, how all these delivery, FedEx and UPS are overloaded, and seeing that. But I have not found a good resource for these different immediate trends around the COVID activity. Great, thank you, Emily. Wonderful. So,
well, it doesn't look like we have questions from Facebook.
okay.
If there are no other questions, do you have any parting thoughts to share before we close?
One of the big things with business that I always enjoy is the philosophy around done is better than perfect. Get things out there into the marketplace, and the consumers will tell you what they want, what they like, and what they don't like. Don't try to make it perfect before you get it out there, because it'll never be perfect and it'll never be done. So the main thing is getting things out there into the market, and the market will help you to mold it so that it does get better, right? So get things out there and don't be afraid to change it. I'm a big fan of podcasts such as How I Built This or Masters of Scale. Both great podcasts that get into the nuances of how businesses get started, and not just and these are businesses that grow nationally and internationally. So dive into that content and understand that it won't be perfect get things out there, and don't be afraid to tweak them after that. Okay? Thank you all for being here today.
All right, thanks so much, Ross.
You're welcome.
And I just have a couple more things to share before we end today.
Okay.
There we go. So next week, we will be hearing from Marcy Goodwin of Leverage Social, and she'll be discussing important points on using social media to effectively boost the reach of your small business. You can find the link to attend this at the Chillicothe Public Library.org link that I put into the comments, or you can find us on Facebook. Thanks again to everyone for tuning in. When I close the event, those of you who are attending through Zoom will be prompted to fill out a survey. And if you'd like to enter to win a prize, please fill that out and submit it, making sure to include your name and contact information. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon and take care.
Thanks, everybody.